Ladies and gentlemen, watch nerds and people who clicked here by accident. Today we're checking out the Venezianico Arsenale Bronzo, also known as the watch your friends think is rusting, but it's actually supposed to do that. Yes, it's bronze, yes it patinas, chill out Karen, it's not dirty, it's meant to be like that. Anyway, let's have a look at it, shall we? This watch is so sexy, it makes me feel like I'm cheating on my wife. Not because it gets dirty, but because it does things to me which I should not be explaining in a watch review video. But anyway, let's get into some specifications. So this thing is 40mm across. Some would say it's the Goldilocks zone. Not too big, not too small, just right. Unless, of course, you have the wrist of a child, but in which case, fair play to you. Inside, beating away is a Miyota 9039 movement, a very reliable Japanese movement. Keeps ticking along way after you forget when you last set the time. And we have a screw down crown, so aiding to a 50m water resistance. Sapphire crystal here with an AR coating. Going back to that water resistance of 50 meters, it's pretty much okay for you to wash your hands, but don't get caught in the rain or cry into it after you check out how much you had to spend on this bad boy. And that is where I get onto the price, which is €850. Now before you switch off, this watch is sold out already. You have to pre-order it. That's because it's so sexy and people want it so much, they bought the first batch. So you can get one fairly soon in the new year. So if you decide to get one, do go on the website and get your name down, because I went to a watch show in Manchester a few weeks ago. I wore this beauty and I must say I got so much positive attention. People recognize this brand and this watch. You want to get lots of lovely attention from lots of men, get yourself one of these. So now we're going to move on to the sexy part, and that is this bronze case. QS19, so it's got a blend of aluminium in here. What does that mean, you say, Dan? Well, basically the aluminium makes this look more of a brighter, lighter bronze, more like gold before it starts to patina. When it does patina, it goes more of a reddish colour, and it darkens beautifully. I prefer this over the other types of bronze. I would say that's what gives this the sexy appeal. It's warm, it's bold, it will slowly develop a patina that whispers in your ears. I've seen things, I've lived life, I've been through wrist sweat. How disgusting. Well, the dial though, this is the other good thing. It's elegant, it's clean, it's classy, and it says, I love Italian design, but it also says, I'm not paying Panerai prices, thanks mate. And then wearability wise, because this thing is only 10mm thick, it slides under a sleeve, smoother than you sliding into your ex's DMs. But before we get too aroused over this watch, there are going to be a few negatives, also known as the part where I hurt your feelings. I'll start with that 50 meters water resistance. It's pretty pathetic. It's fine for rain, but not really for doing any waterboarding. And then some people are going to have problems with this bronze patina. You'll either love evolving look, or you'll spend your weekends polishing away at it like a teenager polishes his private parts. So it's not really a flex brand unless you're flexing that you don't fall for the hype watches, which obviously makes it very cool, but it's not a brand that everyone's heard of. But that's changing. More and more people are aware of Venezianico. And I think the other lot are just struggling to pronounce it. Another thing I wish it had was a better bracelet, i.e. have one. It doesn't have a bracelet. They only come on this rubber strap. You can get one with a blue dial on the blue rubber strap, or I went for the Sunray brown with the brown rubber because I just love to go double brown. But talking about the rubber strap, I have a criticism. Slightly sloppy finishing. It goes through to this extra link here which goes into the case. It just looks a little bit sloppy. And the quality is okay, but the edges, they almost look slightly unfinished around the edges, which is a bit surprising for a watch which costs €850. I also think the markers are a little bit small. The lume plots in there, again, are tiny, so it doesn't really punch too much, but because this is a dressier watch, you're not really going to have much trouble reading this in all light conditions anyway, so hey, forget about it. But now we can quite happily move on to the pros, also known as the reasons you'll justify this purchase. The bronze case patinaing, back to that actually being a positive, because that case will develop a bit of a personality, unlike some people I know. And the dial, although I criticised the small markers, is actually still extremely legible. Lovely Sunray dial, and there's nothing fussy going on here. You can look at this and not struggle to read it, looking like you've just had a stroke. I think it's got great value for specifications. It does punch above its weight, a bit like a tiny boxer defending his mum's pasta recipe. It looks fancy enough as well that strangers might assume that you've got a few quid in your bank and you make financially responsible decisions. But we all know that buying and collecting watches is not one of those things. And it's extraordinarily comfortable, like some beautiful Italian fine leather penny loafers. It just slips on the wrist and it's just so elegant and comfortable. You barely notice it's on your wrist. So who should buy this thing? This watch is definitely for you if you like your watches with personality. You enjoy Italian design more than the Italian traffic laws. You want something unique, stylish, and not another cookie cutter steel sports watch. And this is not for you. If you want to swim laps, you panic when metal changes colour, and you think watches are investments. So the Venezianico Arsenale Bronzo is a stylish, charming watch which gets better with age. unlike me. So if you want a watch that stands out and evolves over time and makes you appear about 12% more interesting at dinner parties, this is definitely the watch for you. So thanks for watching, hit that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and if you made it to this bit, comment dirty patina in the comment box and confuse the other commenters as to why. Thanks a lot. See you in the next one. Bye for now.